All right, hey guys, Jason here. Welcome back to the channel. Another misconceptions video here for you. We got quite a few of these because I think people are finding them very helpful and they're really kind of making a difference for people. We got a lot of gnats running around. But today what we're going to talk about is your perfectly tuned arrow, your arrow that's on here. Now mine might look a little funny. We got some stories to tell if you're in my Patreon channel, but that one there is a complete miss. It went under a hog at about 21 yards, complete missed. And then an hour later, this one here was a hit on a hog that was a perfect shot, went right, came in quarter and away behind his shoulder and hit into the spine and dropped him. And then that one was a follow-up that blew right through him and sealed the deal while he was there. And then I rinsed him in the water. So they mainly look dirt because they're covered in mud. But we got that hog is in that ice cold cooler right now, chilling out and cooling down. But what we want to talk about is this whole arrow perfectly tuned arrow scenario. Let me give you some things to think about here. Look at my bow. You see that mark on there? You see how that's all marked up? It's like that on pretty much every one of my bows. Do you think that happens from perfect arrow flight? No. Do I have perfect arrow flight? Yes. But yet I have not perfect arrow flight, but I have perfect arrow flight. So let's look at this. Let's think about this. Then I'm going to give you some tips for your arrows. In a perfect world, right here, like that, your arrow flight matters. That matters all the time. Comes in handy for everything, okay? Then, when you're sitting here and you're watching hogs here, and he comes and he swings. Now, I shoot this way. Remember, this is my hand, so I'm supposed to shoot, even when I'm hunkered in, full extension, and there it is, and that's perfect arrow flight, right? But now I'm sitting here and I got a hog coming, and he goes this way, and he's moving, Oh, come on, give me a break, come on, give me a break. Come on, there he is. And now that arrow only draws, instead of my 26 inches, I get 22 inches of flight, or 22 inches, and I can't get that extension, and then that arrow's not going to fly right. Or I'm down low on the ground like this, hunkered down to like this to the ground, and I got to draw that and shoot, and I get to here because he's in front of me. He's not over there where I get that full extension. He's in front of me, so I come in this way. There's so many scenarios where you're not going to get perfect arrow flight because of the fact that it is a different bow. If you are somebody that shoots like this every single second, every time, maybe you will. There's also the other factor is people that when you're hunting, you're in different conditions. You may not get the same arrow flight when your feathers are wet and matted down. You may not get that at all. You may not get the same arrow flight here, even now with being sweaty. When I'm covered in sweat, which it's already 90-something degrees here, when I grip my bow, even with that rubber grip, it can be, if my hand, I can squeeze that and you can literally feel the sweat run right down your arm when you grab onto that bow. When my tab tightens up on that string, you can feel the sweat drip out of it and come down your arm. And everything is so slippery, like salt water slippery. And it's a whole different world. Okay, there's so many variables that happen to this stuff, and that's just for people that are experienced. Then you throw in a mix of people who aren't experienced or are new to this, and they don't understand things. 1 minute they come in and they shoot and it's thump like this. The next minute they shoot and it's like this. And the next minute they shoot it's like this. And they got all this stuff and it's this. And then it's dumping that arm here and it's pushing it this way. All these things happen and come in and then they're not. And then you have the people that can't hit anchor, target panic people come in and thump, shoot here. Come in and the next one shot here. And the next one they come, I got to make it all the way to shoot here. And then you got the back tensioners and they come in and they go, okay, ready, bend them. Boom, there it is. But then when they're really hunting, like, ooh, and that elbow doesn't even bend. It's right here. And you got so many variables. It is not a compound where it's punk, and then you're at a hard wall, and everything is real, okay? There's none of that. It doesn't matter how you shoot it, and then it comes in that hard wall, and then you clunk, and you're gone. We don't have that luxury. It's a traditional bow. It is a stick and a string. It is a simple stick and a string, recurve or longbow, it makes no difference. So we use it as a tool, and there's so many benefits to it. But perfect arrow flight is kind of a misnomer. And then again, so we take all that stuff into consideration. What do you do to deal with this? Because everybody talks perfect arrow flight. Here's your goal. Here's what your goal is. Your goal is to take an arrow. Let's take that muddy one there because we know it's dulled out. Your goal is to take an arrow like this and have that thing tuned to the best you can. Your goal is to be able to bare shaft this arrow with with just a field tip on there and no fletching, and get this thing to shoot and shoot straight. Okay, it's gonna have some paradox, comes out of the bow. Okay, people say it on some of my stuff on my Patreon, like, oh, that arrow kicked a little bit. What you see, because you're seeing it literally as it comes out right as a camera right here, is how you see it. Is that right there, there's a camera mounted right here, and you watch that and you'll literally see it flex around there. But as it goes, as you look at it from here, you're seeing it come out and then it flexes and it looks like it's flying funny. It's not. The point is, that's archer's paradox happening with it as it goes, and you see that right out of there. Bare shaft tuning is the best way to do this. So when you bare shaft tune it and you get good flight, you're not getting knock left or knock right, depending on how you're looking at this and trying to match you, or knock high, knock low. Once you're getting it, that is your goal. I don't care if you can punch holes with it through paper. I can't punch holes. My release sucks. My middle finger is in the way all the time. My middle finger will not release. The middle finger always hangs up like this, and then my string has to work off of it. It's a kink in there, and I cannot get that middle finger to release for the life of me. So my release sucks. So shooting paper, if I shoot through paper, if I shoot 25 shots, I'll get a hole on 6 or 8 of them. Perfect hole. The other ones will be off just a smidge. Is what it is. But bare shaft tuning is where you're going to learn that reality of this stuff, and it's going to do the things you want. Then my goal after that personally is to take my arrow and have it fletched, but soak the feathers, stick them in water, swirl them around, mat them down, stick them in, swirl them around, mat them down, stick them in, swirl them. Again, we got a pretty dull broadhead here. Just this is still kind of sharp, but so you see me moving things here. But we mat that down, mat it down so the feathers are as flat as I can get them. Then I take that setup that we have right there, and then I'm going to shoot it. Foom, and I'm going to shoot it. Foom, and I'm going to shoot it. Foom, and I'm going to want to make sure that that flies good, wetted, matted down with a broadhead. If I win at those, I'm set. I'm good. I am content. And then we know that we're all right. Now also notice I shoot a very big feather. Okay, now this feather is only 3.5 inches, a little over 3.5 inches long, but look at the height of that thing. Look how big that feather is, the amount of helical that is on that thing. I do that on purpose. The height matters more to me than the length, but I have tuned these over time, starting with a 5.5 inch long high back feather, 5.5 inches long from there to there. Long feather that was what I was using, and many of us did 5.5 inch high back. That's what we shot. Why? They controlled your arrow. They took care of any mistakes that you had. It didn't matter. Your arrow leaves the bow, even if it leaves the bow sideways, the feather straighten it out real quick, comes out, boom, and there it comes right, and it's going straight. Inside of 6-7 yards, that arrow's flying like a dream because those feathers stabilize it. Today, it seems like many people have got away from that. I don't even know many places where you can buy a 5.5 inch already pre-cut feather. I don't even know. I haven't even looked. I chop my own. I still believe heavily in chopping your own or burning them or whatever you want to do. Chopper, I think, is easier. I love a chopper. But you can buy a 5.5 inch chopper. This is a 4-inch chopper that I set it as high as I possibly can, and I cut off some of it. You can see it doesn't go all the way to a front point taper that would come out to about right there for 4 inches. I cut it off because I want that hard wall right there. Again, my own system and style. Yours may vary. Point we're trying to make is more feather matters. More feather is going to correct for your mistakes. So even if instead of me coming in and hitting this and getting full draw where I'm going to come in and I'm going to get back here like this, I'm going to get all 26 inches of my draw that's going to happen. If I'm over here and I only get this far, I can still make that work. The arrow feathers will correct me and save me. My fact that my arrow is tuned well will save me. But you guys, whatever the reason is, as far as tuning goes, here's my advice. Here is the best advice I have for you. Shoot bigger feathers. Shoot bigger feathers, and then do the best you can to bare shaft them. But even especially new people in the beginning, when you order your feathers or your arrows, if you're not making them on your own, or even if you should, and you should, it's so easy. It is so easy. Clamps today are cheap. You can get like a bonding clamp for like 25 bucks. Feathers are not that expensive, and to glue it is so easy to do. Get a chopper, but make your own arrows. Fletch your own arrows. But either way, put a 5.5-inch feather on it or put a big one. If you want to stay with the standard 5-inch or even a 4-inch feather, go 4-fletch. That way you get one more feather surface area on there that do the work for you. But feathers matter. They are important. I don't even need them on my arrow for anything. I can shoot this raw shaft with this 1.5-inch broadhead all day long without fail, and I've proven it in video and video again. Yet on the same note, I still run 3.5-inch high back feathers on here because it matters. It corrects you when your situation isn't right. So I can't emphasize this enough. Yes, it's good to tune your arrows and get them there. But on the same note, even tuned, you're not always going to get the right flight when you're bow hunting with a traditional bow. Certain circumstances and situations will change that. High winds will change that. If you're shooting high FOC like I am, where I got 450 grains right in this section of the arrow and a 720 grain overall arrow with no weight back here at all, if there's any wind at all, you'll see this thing shoot. It'll dance like that as it goes. Okay, there is all sorts of conditions and situations that happen that people have to be concerned about. The best solution for those, in my opinion, put a bigger feather on it. Let the feather steer it for you, especially if you're new to this and you're not quite sure what you're going to do or if things are going to change in your form or how things are and you're going to need some fine tuning. Put a bigger feather. It's going to let you get away with a lot more imperfection in your arrow tuning. That's why we shot them for so long. It is a fail-safe. It is a safety net, and it works incredible, and nobody will ever fault you for it. Again, we see people today trying so hard to reinvent the wheel when it comes to the arrow, and there's no reason to. An arrow works, and it works flawlessly with some feathers on it. That's what it's been designed for. Put some big feathers on it and let that control it. Well, then what about the noise? Yeah, you're going to get a little more noise with a bigger feather. You're gonna. But we keep our shots close, and when you're in there, I don't think it's going to hurt anything that big of a deal. I'd rather have that arrow stabilizing quicker and get that shot done. Bigger arrow feathers are going to slow it down. Who cares? We're traditional bow hunters. We're shooting 20 yards and in. Who cares if it goes from 180 to 174? Who cares? Who cares if it goes from 180 to 140? Nobody cares. It makes no difference. So this is the reality of the arrow for you, is that your goal eventually over time, later down the road, is to get it tuned as best you can. But that includes tuning it to your own shooting style with your form as well as to your bow. In the meantime, put some bigger feathers on it so that you get that consistent arrow flight. You get that good arrow flight. You can be good with it. You can hunt with it. The feathers are big enough to overpower the broadhead, and there's no wind planing. Your arrows are set up well, and the feathers can do the work that they're designed to do. That is the advice for you. People will argue this. You will read in the comments that this is wrong and that everybody's responsibility to shoot a perfectly tuned arrow and all this kind of stuff. And in a perfect world, I guess so. But everybody's supposed to, everybody in the world today is supposed to, use your credit card, but then pay it off each month. And what's the percentage that do it? I think it's like 0.07% of people actually do that, but yet the world is supposed to do that. Okay, we're supposed to everything. I'm supposed to have money in my bank. I'm supposed to have my cars run forever. I'm supposed to have food in my fridge that's good. I'm supposed to live well. I'm supposed to eat right. There's so many supposed to things in life that I just don't care about even remotely. The point is, give yourself a fail-safe, like everything else. Same with your bank accounts, same with your food, same with everything. Give yourself a fail-safe. Feathers on an arrow are a fail-safe until you have that tuned right. And then as you notice, again, even when the arrow is 100% pure perfection, which this arrow is, tuned over a period of 12 years to get it exactly like I want. 12 years of the same arrows with minor changes and things done to this. And I have the perfect, in my opinion, arrow for me on 100%. But yet, I still put the big feathers on even though I don't need them, because they are a fail-safe and they take care of any inconsistencies I have for whatever reason or situation. Questions, comments, put them below. Thanks for watching.